If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.
I feel like everybody is just now waking up from that bender that we went on from Thursday to about Sunday night. I forgot how many updates you get from that tournament championship app. So the fact that that's just, it's buzzing. The boys are buzzing. And we have obviously our bracket brawl still going on. Episode 271, it's going to feel a little bit closer to it for us because we're recording this early. I'm going to be in Virginia Beach when you guys are listening to this. So Nico is coming on right after practice. If you're watching, make sure that you're leaving a like, subscribing, following at FEOTB Pod. A lot of good things happening. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of great things to talk about. But I know that we're both tired. We're both coaching. We're both, ready for things to loosen up. But, we still got three more rounds of the tournament, 3 more weekends, I guess, 2 more weekends possibly. I'll figure it out. And we got all this other great stuff happening. The Nuggets, Avalanche, playoffs. We got it all. So, Nick, it's good to be here, and I know that you enjoyed yourself watching all that basketball.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I don't have as much free time during the day nowadays during this time of the year, but still, getting to work from home a little bit was nice, and get to throw on games was great. I thought the first slate of games were great. I thought there wasn't any crazy upsets. There's some crazy games, and there's one surprise in the round of 32, but it's been a good tournament so far. We've seen a lot of really good players not have their tournaments end early, and a lot of good teams just shock the world. Like who would have thought Iowa and Nebraska would be already where they are right now and continue to grow more and more. Like those basketball programs they're not basketball programs. Let's put that out there. So it's good to see the direction of the tournament, and it should end up being a very, very good end to it all.
And I got a bone to pick with you because we were talking about it last week, and I said I initially picked the VCU upset gut check. And I switched because you know more about it than I do, and the gods made sure to make me pay for that one because, man, I guess we can kind of – I guess I want to start there. That UNC-VCU matchup, all I've heard from the North Carolina fan base, and yes, North Carolina is one of the blue bloods, no pun intended. It's not just because of their color. They're basketball royalty. They care about their basketball team more than anything else. Hubert Davis, I believe, is the coach. Am I correct?
He long gone. He gone.
Oh, he's
gone.
I believe I heard fans calling for it, and then I was like, oh, this is getting serious when the athletic director was like, I think we're going to have to really assess what's going on this week. And I was like, shit, he might as well be gone on the plane.
He's so gone. He is cooked is all I'm going to say. I let's be honest with ourselves. Caleb Wilson bit me in the ass. That team was not a team. They struggled mightily. And the year I go heavy with the star players is the year it bites me in the ass. Let me put it that way. I had North Carolina in my national championship. I didn't have them winning, but I had them in my national championship. But I did not think. I mean, look, they're up by 20 at one point, and then they just fell apart. They fell apart.
That was a choke,
an absolute choke job. And the fact that the team couldn't hold up, and VCU is a team that, congrats to them, it was a big time win. But it should have been a walkthrough for North Carolina, like it was for most of the game. And I turned that game off thinking, all right, it is a wash. Like I can turn on these other games and see what's going on there. And then all of a sudden I'm getting the score tracker in the top right hand while I'm watching other games. And I'm like, what in the world is going on there? And yeah, man, North Carolina, it's an all out, just catastrophe.
The South had a lot that was going on with it. We had Nebraska's first ever tournament win. 4 seed, they beat Troy, and then they followed up with their second ever tournament win. So we're going to be talking about them this week as well for the picks that we talk. Illinois looks really strong. They handled Penn the way that they were supposed to, and then took care of VCU. But the team that I keep hearing, and I heard them before the tournament too, so I'm not trying to sit here and ride on anybody's coattails. And we talked about them a few years ago too. Houston is a problem.
Yeah. I mean, Houston's consistently a team that you could put through 2 rounds, like at least maybe a Final Four appearance. Like what they're doing with Sampson over there has been unreal. And last year, obviously, they lost the Natty. And now their next step, they feel as though they can win the Natty. But it's a team that consistently first weekend comes out strong, looking very, very strong. It's really when you get to those crunch moments in the later rounds where they're finally facing teams that are on their level that things get worrisome for them. So that was not a surprise to me at all. Houston able to do that.
Yeah, no, I think that they are proving themselves, but that's also going to be a tough matchup that we'll get into for the Sweet 16. The Illini taking on the Cougars, and I believe it's in Houston, isn't it? They're playing the games in Houston.
I don't know the places at all.
I'll have it by the end of the show. I'll double check as we're going, but I don't want to lose our momentum here. Florida losing. Now I know that it's been forever since we've had, well, not forever actually, because UConn did it, but it doesn't happen all that often. As national champions can repeat a lot in football. You have the dynasties. Basketball is different because you have the one game elimination, the tournament style. I think that we're going to probably start seeing that a little bit more in college football with the way the playoff is working out. But Florida unable to defend their title. Iowa beats them 73-72. What was it that got the Hawkeyes over? Is it the Florida Gators relying on one player, like what we were saying, that not having anything behind it?
It wasn't necessarily that. Iowa just shot the lights out of the ball, and obviously being able to knock down open shots and be able to just shoot a high volume of threes, it's a big-time win. And you could tell Florida was on that hangover from a national championship. It's very hard to go for a deep run after winning a Natty, especially with how many players that Florida lost. And Iowa was a team, like I said, it's weird seeing Iowa and Nebraska in a Sweet 16 matchup. It's weird.
It's a corn. We got the corn bowl happening on the basketball court.
It's very weird. So I'm excited for Iowa, and the fact that it's Iowa basketball, and we're talking about Iowa basketball, and it's not Caitlin Clark is actually something. So and it's a first-year head coach after McCaffrey retired last year. Fran McCaffrey retired, so it's a great story for Nebraska and Iowa, especially two teams that, like I said, got some of the biggest tournament wins they've had in recent years. So Florida honestly just felt as though it was just not their night, and Iowa it was.
We're not going to talk about the picks yet because we're going to get to that at the end of the segment. But what I am going to ask you for each region is who has the best coach remaining, because it comes down to coaching. That's where you're going to see the kind of the commitment and the culture come through in these teams. So Houston, Illinois, Nebraska, Iowa. Out of those four teams in the South, who do you believe has the best coach?
Sorry, say the four again. It was Nebraska, Iowa,
and Illinois, Houston.
I mean, it's Houston. It's easily Houston and Sampson. Like it's a coach that's been to a national championship, been a part of a couple national championships as a player. It's easily Houston. If you're looking at those four teams and you're sitting here and you're like, if you are Nebraska, Iowa, and Illinois, you are licking your chops because like this is a golden opportunity. Because, like I said, the Nebraskas of the world, those type of players or those type of teams are not as tournament savvy and not been around and not had that success going to the second weekend in March in a while at least. So it's a golden opportunity for Houston to run the table again. And when you have one of the best coaches in the country and have a team that's consistently top to bottom, one of the most sound defensively, and a team that can knock down open threes, it's Houston's bracket to lose.
Yeah, and you probably told me this before. He was on Phi Slama Jamba, was he not? Was he on that team?
He wasn't. It's not Ralph Sampson. I don't think.
Or is he? Yeah,
I gotta look it up. It's something else. Like he wasn't on that Phi Slama Jamba.
He's not on the famous team. He was. I mean, Houston basketball is a big thing. They do play it a lot out there in the high school and the youth stages. So any sport in Texas is a pretty big deal. It's
Calvin Sampson, not Ralph Sampson. Ralph Sampson, I'm pretty sure, was the Phi Slama.
Nico, I have no idea who the hell Ralph Sampson is. I thought since he played at Houston, possibly won a championship, I was like, Phi Slama Jamba, I got like a 70% chance.
Maybe I'm mixing them up too.
I have no clue.
I don't even know if he played for Houston. Maybe I'm just pulling shit out of my ass. No, I am pulling shit out of my ass. He played for He was a baseball player. He was a coach for a lot of years in a lot of different places, just at Houston. So I'm thinking of someone different entirely. So
It happens. It happens to the best of us.
There's a lot of names in college basketball. I'm sorry. a lot of names,
and there's a lot of turnover, Nico. That's what we said. We talked about it last week. You don't see a lot of these guys for a long time, and that's people. I have it written here. I'm using it ironically. I said chalk madness. There are people, just like we saw with the college football playoff. Not sitting here pointing fingers. Man, these games suck. It sucks not to have a Cinderella story. Why can't we have a team come out of nowhere, a spunky little underdog, and just make a run of it? That's not what sells. You're going to watch these games way more than you would have watched any kind of Cinderella. Hofstra in the Sweet 16 is not going to draw.
And Hofstra in the Sweet 16 would have got their breaks broken in, is all I'm going to say. Okay? Yes. Like, unfortunately, those people are the same people that take off work for the first day of March Madness and only care about the first day. Like unfortunately, the turnover from viewership from March Madness week 1 to March Madness week 2 is crazy. Yeah. Because not every game is on at the same time, and you have to watch one individual game at once at each time, and it's just back to back to back instead of like 4 on at one time. And that's where you lose fans because like, oh, I can watch 4 things at once, and people are so used to red zone and everything, and that's why they love it so much. And they don't understand. Yeah, you're getting great games though. It's like you don't have the underdog. I'm sorry, but you're getting great games with 2 great teams facing, and you're gonna have the best national champion. It's people like that are arguing that conversation.
Yeah, it's a very similar argument to what we were seeing. Big storylines out of this one. St. Louis pounds Georgia in the first round and then gets pounded right back by Michigan. Michigan looks every bit the number 1 seed that they were brought into this tournament. Texas Tech goes down to Alabama. That 2.1 pounds of marijuana, not slowing the tide down, even though I thought that was going to be a little bit bigger of a deal than what it ended up being. Out of the Midwest, what were some of the big things that you saw over the first weekend?
I mean, I thought Iowa State and Michigan both looked great. I thought Iowa State handled business very, very solidly in that first round matchup. And the Kentucky game, it was 82-63, right? Yeah, they had control of that Kentucky game the whole game. I know it was a 19-point lead, but 19-point finish there, but it felt like it was the Kentucky never really had a chance there. And for an Iowa State
who did they lose in that first game? Because it was like 2 minutes into the first game, and I thought I was about to see another Kevin Ware with the way that guy went down.
I can't remember
I don't need to know who his name is. I'm not to no disrespect, but just like, is that a maiden? He's obviously a starter because he was out there at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I would assume yes, but yeah, it's going to be something that could hurt them past the past this round. I think they should be able to handle. Who's the team? Yeah, pull it back again. Yeah. Who do they got?
They have
Tennessee. Kind of got the luck of the draw. Virginia didn't look very good. Miami, Ohio, they did handle them. Tennessee was a little bit of a surprise because, like I said, I had Miami, Ohio beating them. And the fact that they rolled through both Ohio and Virginia, obviously not as good as team as they've had in the past. It's kind of a surprise there, and Tennessee's kind of fallen under their radar in terms of how good they've been. But Iowa State shouldn't have a problem there. And Bama's good story, good program. They're not what Michigan's playing like right now. So a Michigan or Iowa State game is looking what it's going to be like.
Michigan, Iowa State coming out of the Midwest. That's a pretty good thought there. Coming up to the top side of the bracket, the West region, another team that I've heard a lot of really glowing remarks about, Arizona. They're going to be taking on Arkansas, but they went through Long Island and Utah State. Utah State gets another big upset. They knocked out one of the Big East, not Blue Bloods, but one of the Big East teams that contends for a title pretty regularly. The West region, what have you seen out of this one? How do you feel about Arizona? Are you as high on them? Are you seeing a Cinderella run from Texas that has $1 billion athletic budget? Or is Purdue and Arkansas being slept on a little bit too much?
I mean, Texas was a team preseason that was really hot, and a lot of people were high on, and they kind of faltered at the end of the season. So in reality, yeah, they were a last 4 team in, but there's always usually a last 4 team in that gets hot.
And they're normally the Power 5 teams that get last 4 in, because I remember UCLA going on a run. They were an 11 seed. Texas, like I just mentioned, $1 billion in their athletic budget. I know a lot of that goes to football. You can't tell me those basketball players are not sleeping on satin sheets.
Yeah, I mean, like Texas is a great story. Purdue, I was not. I watched that Miami game, and I had Miami beating them in my bracket. Obviously, that didn't work out for me, but I wasn't mightily impressed by Purdue. They have another 7-foot 8 guy on their roster like they do after ED. And I just sat there and being like, this is not the number 2 team in this bracket. Like, I'm serious. Like, I felt like they let a lot out there after that first round matchup where they just demolished the 15 seed. It just felt as though they could have done that to Miami back to back, and they kind of just played with their food for most of the game. Obviously, a second half runaway, it made the score what it is. But I wouldn't be surprised if Texas won this game. I would not be surprised at all. And Texas should not be seen as that big of an underdog after who they were able to handle on back-to-back games. So that's very good. Arizona is the team that I obviously have as a national champion that handled business very well on their first 2 matchups, but it's another team similar to the Houstons of the world. When you get to a critical game against another really great roster, it's make or break time, and that's where Sean Miller. I think Sean Miller's still there. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong where he's at. But Arizona really struggles in those high pressure moments, so that could be a falter there. This bracket and that top bracket we talked about with Iowa, Nebraska, Houston, and who the fuck are they playing? I can't
Illinois.
remember. Houston, Illinois. We could see a surprise out of that winner. I know you have Houston. I know you have Arizona high on this list of who being a Final Four team, being a real contender. But both these quadrants of the bracket could be interesting and have a team come out of nowhere. Like Arkansas is no pushover, and obviously Calipari has won a lot of big time games. And look, Arkansas played Hawaii in High Point. Okay, Arizona is no Hawaii in High Point, but at the same time, it should be an interesting matchup because Arizona is playing a good coach and against high talented players, and one of the best players in the country is on Arkansas too. Like they have some great talent.
Who's the white boy shooter from High Point? Because damn, High Point can score 80+ points in both rounds of the tournament.
High Point went on a magical run. That win against Wisconsin was huge, and the game winner was cool. But Darius Acuff, ACUFF, for Arkansas is a guy to watch in this game because he's going to be a guy that's put his name on top of the great Calipari guards of the past, right? You think about the John Walsh, think about Jamal Murray's, the Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's, right? The great Kentucky
guards.
Chase
Johnston? Is that who the shooter was that got the game-winning shot?
That sounds right for a High Point. But yeah, this Arkansas team with Darius Acuff, it's going to be a tough matchup for them. Very, very tough matchup for Arizona.
Obviously, I feel like Wisconsin would have had a difficult task trying to get through Arkansas in that spot as well because Calipari – I can't remember the exact number, but he's made so much money for his players that have been gone and drafted. Like it's ridiculous.
I mean, that's what he's known for. He hasn't won a natty in 10 years.
But you get the one, and then you get to
adios.
Just kind of coasting down that river. Duke is going to be mad, but I saved them for last because I don't really care for Duke. I really don't care for their fans. I don't know how I feel about St. John's. I love Pitino because he's a little Italian Spitfire. I like Rick Pitino. I would love to see the Johnnies get an upset.
This quadrant has the best games.
Yeah.
Best 316 games.
Oh, and I think at least 2 of these coaches are really two of these coaches are really Italian, and Danny Hurley is Italian by aggression.
Look, these 4 schools have some of the best coaches in the bracket. Like John Shire at Duke, yeah, I understand he's because Coach K's understudy and all that. He's a great coach. Great exercise. Pitino is great, right? Izzo, don't need to say too much about him. Dan Hurley has won 2 championships already. Like this quadrant is what dreams are made of. Is all I'm gonna say. I believe both these games may be on at the same time, or maybe they're separate times. But both these games, I kid you not, will be must-see TV. Because you have 4 I'm not going to call St. John's Blue Blood, but you have 3 Blue Bloods. They
come from the Big East, so they're Blue Blood adjacent.
Adjacent, exactly. You have 3 Blue Bloods and a team that is just absolutely gritty. And this St. John's team, it seems like last year, where both you and I were high on them because we were drinking the Kool-Aid big time. It felt like
the white suit.
We were drinking the Kool-Aid big time for them. It feels as though last year was a year too soon. It feels like this St. John's team is no longer an underdog. With the injuries Duke has had and the Boozer Twins not playing as good as they have been all season long, this is almost St. John's game to lose. Like, I'm dead serious. Like more people are picking St. John's to win it all right now than they are Duke. And Duke's one of the top 4 seeds, obviously. So it's going to be such an exciting game. And then you look at the opposite side with UConn and Michigan State. Michigan State is playing great team basketball, play hard defense, and there is nobody that knows how to coach in March like Tom Izzo, okay? And you, on top of that, you face a team that's won 2 of the last 3 national championships. And UConn, oh boy, it's must-see TV.
I can't. I want to know if there is a wager on which coach is going to get the first technical, because it's Shire wouldn't be on that list. Shire would be your long shot. Patino and Izzo and Hurley are all, I would say, like over under first 15 minutes of the game. Something doesn't go their way, it's big stakes moment in the Sweet 16. I could see any one of those coaches drawing a technical foul and moving in that direction. Before we talk about the women's game, let's go through. So we both have brackets in. I'm currently 41st in our group. We've had a few people join, put their brackets in after the tournament started. So they made the bracket. Yours was not good. With North Carolina went down, that pretty much sealed it. That
I
it wasn't going to
like I said, I still have my national championship, but
Yeah.
I do need like some of these other big time schools to fall apart.
Well, I don't know who found our link, but as I was looking earlier today, and when we were looking, there's a guy that has 99% accuracy now.
It's great.
And everybody else in number 2 has 97% accuracy. So good on you guys. You're getting $100 of our money. That's awesome. But our picks for, I guess what we would have had in the Sweet 16, and then the matchups that we are possibly going to see in the Elite 8 based on the picks that we had. So I picked in the East, Duke over St. John's. I did pick Michigan State over UConn because I love Izzo. As much as I love Patino, I went with the smart pick. I feel like it gives me a mathematically better chance. Injuries might change that, but that's the way that I felt things going in, which would give me Duke, Michigan State in the East Elite 8.
Yeah, Duke. I think I have Duke as well. I think, because I had Kansas winning that St. John's matchup. I think St. John's comes out. And I think it's a Big Ten, or not a. Isn't UConn Big East? Or they were.
UConn is Big East.
I don't know if they are anymore. I know they were. I think they may have switched.
I don't know if
Maybe I'm wrong. But I have UConn. I think I would pick, if I were to redraw everything, I'd have UConn and St. John's.
UConn and St. John's. They're in the Big East. UConn is in the Big East for basketball, so they still have that. I believe they play in the American for football, so that's why it gets a little bit confusing there. In the South, I have nobody in this game left because I picked Vanderbilt to beat Nebraska in this spot. Actually, I picked Florida to beat Vanderbilt in this spot, and neither of those two teams made it. So I guess I will go with Iowa because Iowa owns Nebraska. If you look at the last 10 football matchups, Iowa is 9-1 against the Cornhuskers. In the other side, I picked Houston originally over Illinois. So that's one of the few brackets that I still have everybody intact. So I'll stick with that one. My picks will be Houston over Iowa in that Elite 8 matchup.
Yeah. I'm trying to find my bracket right now. My bracket is cooked still, but I still have, like I said, I need Arizona to push through. I need Duke to push through. Or no,
I got to scroll for a while, but I can find it.
I can figure it out. Here we go. This is why we don't do things live anymore. I have Duke, and I need Duke, UConn. Florida's out, UNC's out, so the South is cooked for me. The South is absolutely cooked. I have Arizona, and I have BYU, so that's cooked too. So I need Arizona. Michigan's my Final Four.
I picked Arkansas to beat Arizona initially out of the West in this round.
Yeah, I need Michigan, Arizona, UConn, and Duke to do well, in my opinion. I mean, now that my bracket's shot, I kind of like the underdog and like seeing St. John's and seeing new schools happen. I would love to see Iowa, Nebraska, one of those teams make the Final Four. Don't know if it's going to happen, but it would be fun to see it.
Yeah. The teams that I have predicted for my Elite 8, obviously Michigan State's still a possibility. Arkansas still a possibility. Michigan's still a possibility. I didn't give away my Final Four or national champion. I'm going to save it. I'll save it and maybe put it out a little bit later. The only one that I don't have in this anymore, I had Florida also coming out of the Elite Eight. So initially I would have had Michigan State, Florida, Arkansas, Michigan. Only one of those teams currently eliminated, and I'm hoping the guy in first ends up losing a couple games. As it stands, who would have won in your Elite Eight, or I guess either who would have won in your Elite Eight, or who do you think is going to win and come out of the Elite Eight for your Final Fours?
My Final Fours, I mean, I still sticking with the three teams I have. I think I'm sticking with UConn. UConn's a team that I think could take down Duke or St. John's. I feel like they comfortably handle Michigan State. I'm riding with Arizona. Texas gives me a little bit scared. Arkansas gives me a little bit scared, but I think Arizona is still top to bottom one of the best teams. And same thing on the opposite side of Michigan. I just feel like Michigan is the most complete team out of that bracket. Bama isn't what it was, right? Isn't what it was last year, the year before. And then on the flip side down below, I think they can take care of either of those two teams, Purdue and on that half. So I'm sticking with those three. And then if I had to pick a team out of that fourth side that I don't have my Final Four in, give me Nebraska. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I'm feeling Nebraska.
Yeesh. Will Compton's going to be happy. He's smiling somewhere. I'm not going to ask you too much about the women's tournament. I know I have watched a couple of games because one of the TVs was on the women's game when everybody was over at our man cave on Friday watching. Just what have you seen on that side? I've seen a couple clips, I guess I'll say, coaches getting in people's faces the way that we talked about with Izzo. I like it. I like the way that they're going out. The Syracuse coach saying, I can't believe we have to keep coming to this regional, keep playing UConn and just keep getting beat by UConn. I was like, tell me you're a loser.
Well, Syracuse did just fire their head coach and just got.
Well, she got beat by 50. So
yeah, it's not great.
We'll look at quickly their Sweet 16s that they have coming up. We have UConn, North Carolina, Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, Duke, LSU, and UCLA, Minnesota. So March chalk is even more so on the women's side of things because the lowest seed remaining is a 6 seed, and that is Notre Dame, and they're not really a Cinderella team. Who would you pick if you had to make a selection for the women's tournament?
UCLA. UCLA and South Carolina are the two teams that I look at. UConn obviously is very, very good, but Paige is now graduated. Obviously, she's in the WNBA now. It's a little bit different, but UCLA with the Betts sisters. I can't remember the oldest's name, but they're both from Colorado. Funny enough, and two great talents, and they're putting on a show. They have Jaime Hawkins' sister as well, plays for the UCLA women's team too. A team that, frankly, I think could be a deep run here. But when you look at the opposite side and you look at what South Carolina consistently brings in talent-wise, brings in their production to the tournament, they're almost a shoo-in to be in the national championship. I'm dead serious. Like that's a team that if you're not picking them, it's a do you know what you're doing? Are you trying to lose money kind of thing? Because South Carolina continues and to put out great talent and WA talent that's top of the top. LSU is an interesting team that could make some moves. But besides that, UConn and LSU, I think, is that tier below UCLA and South Carolina. So I'd expect those two teams to meet in the Natty.
I'm excited. I think that these games will be a little bit more competitive than the ones I saw on the opening weekend. But March Madness, Sweet 16, Elite 8 rounds. I'm going to be on the East Coast. So ask me when these games tip off past my bedtime. Yeah. They tip off way past my bedtime. And I'm not a big enough basketball fan to be dragging ass at a wrestling tournament after staying up to try and watch. Nothing. If the boys are out, who knows? Sticking with basketball, I wanted to talk about this because all we've done for the last a long time, it has been since November that the full lineup has been out there on the floor, and we finally got a glimpse of it, what it was going to be the other night as we're recording this, and we're not going to get it tonight because Peyton Watson ends up getting a rest day after he makes his return. But the Nuggets, I said they gain a health bar. We're about 10 games out from the playoffs. A lot of seeds still in play. There's still a lot of movement that's going to be happening. But now that we've seen what this team is fully healthy, now that we've had a second to adjust and nobody's panicking anymore after the Lakers loss, we're not – man, I don't want to give him any clout, but Marilat was like tweeting that we should trade Jokic, we should trade everybody, we should fire Adelman. I was like, dude, calm down. Don't put that out on the internet, man. People see that shit.
Those are those. I mean, those are the. Like, I'm not going to call people out for being fake fans, but those are the fair weather fans. Is all I'm going to say. People that have not gone through the thick and thin. Obviously, Jokic, Jamal, and AG are the lifeblood of this team, and everyone else needs to fall in. Look, getting Peyton Watson back is huge, right? It's huge. This team fully healthy still has a great opportunity, but you have roughly, I think, 8 games left. It's as do or die as ever. That 3 seed is basically out of the question now. You want to try to get that 4 seed and at least have a first round bye because, I mean, look at what's happening across the league, right? OKC is probably going to be your second round matchup if you're lucky to stay at the 5 seed, but you got to make sure you stay out of the play. And as we're recording this, they play Phoenix tonight at 9 p.m. One of the stupidest timing of the start of a game I've ever seen in my life. But you have to take care of that game because you look at where that line is, right? Where that line is. You want to host Minnesota. You do not want to go on the road against Minnesota because you already have enough problems with them. Okay? How many games back is that with the Lakers?
You're technically 2 games because they have 2 less losses, but it's technically 3 because they have the tiebreaker.
Yeah, exactly. So that's out of the reach at this point. Okay, if somehow, and the reason why
unless they go on a real bad skid.
Yeah, exactly. The reason why I'm saying that is because the Lakers are red hot, and because Luka is the boy wonder he is. Okay,
and Prince.
I have to hold my tongue. Because Nico Harrison
he's biting his hand here.
Nico Harrison is the dumbest motherfucker that's ever lived this planet, is all I'm going to say, okay? We go day by day. That trade looks worse. Day by day, it looks worse and worse, okay? It doesn't get better. It gets worse.
What does that little E next to Dallas mean, Nico? For those of you watching on YouTube, what's that little E mean?
Anthony Davis is playing fucking Washington. He's not even on the Mavericks anymore because he couldn't stay on the floor. They were so done with him.
Yeah, and Washington's also eliminated from the playoffs, so it's not like
he hasn't played, by the way, since he got traded. He hasn't played a game in a Wizards uniform yet. It's the worst trade in NBA history, and the fact he got traded to the Lakers is
I smell collusion.
So annoying. Look, there's going to be if in 10, 15 years from now, there's a book that's written about how the NBA is rigged and how Luka got traded to the Lakers because LeBron was retiring and they needed a new star in LA because the Kawhi thing was happening. I wouldn't be shocked. Okay, I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be like, that makes sense.
If somebody were to tell you 10 years from now that Adam Silver is actually the best promoter of all time and it's not Vince McMahon or Dana White, you'd be like, yeah.
And he learned from Silver learned from not
Sterling.
No, not Sterling. No, that's the Clippers.
All right, I'll get the name.
Oh my gosh, hold on, this is gonna piss me off. I gotta get this. Hold on, I gotta get this pulled. But he learned from the people behind him. And it's ridiculous. Yeah, Sterling was the guy with the Clippers that said the bad things about his daughters.
Stern. It was David Stern, not Sterling. David Stern. Yeah, no. David Stern made David Sterling sell his team.
Yes, exactly. Look, I sit here and I'm just like
Donald Sterling.
This is so David Stern and Donald Sterling. That's who it is. So annoying because this team fully healthy could be so good. I watched that game against Portland, and I understand Portland's losing on purpose. But I watched that game, and I was like, this team is still so good.
Yeah, and there was a game recently where they played against Portland, even with them trying to lose, and it was a slug. It was back and forth, like
fully healthy. I'm watching like Peyton Watson get up and down. I'm watching Valanciunas come off the bench, and I'm like, this is what I've been waiting for. This is what I've been asking for, waiting for, asking for, begging for. And it's taken us – the season started in October.
The last time that all 5 were on the floor was November 15th.
Yeah, so all of November or half of November, December, January, February, nearly all March. 4.5 months, 5 months. That's just and look, that's the problem with this team. Is like if we do get into a playoff scenario, this team doesn't have any continuity with their roles and how they're supposed to run everything because they don't have it. Yeah. They haven't gotten to play it. So role players have been having to play starters minutes because of injuries. And then role players, when they have to back down, don't know their role in the offense, don't know their role in the defense. I've
been hearing a lot of people say that the way that this run goes is all on Adelman. And I'm like, I can see where your argument is, but that's also a lot of pressure to put on a guy who, let's be honest, while he wanted this position, did he want it in the way that he got it? Probably not. It would probably have been better if they got a full reset instead of him taking over the team 8 days before the previous season ended, having to go through that playoffs, having to go through what was this year, which was the year from hell based on injuries. And now you're sitting there like, well, if he can't, figure out a way to coach this team when he hasn't even seen his team play more than 3 games, if he can't figure that out, then he's not a worthy enough coach. And I'm like, I get that you love Michael Malone, but this guy deserves a little bit of leeway with what he's had to deal with,
and be able to keep this team afloat. I've been one of Adam's critics. I've been a critic about how we should have had a full interview process and should have went outside the hiring process for a coach this offseason, should have done our due diligence and done all that. And we just stuck with our guns and said, we're just going to ride it till we got. And I hated that. Okay. But at the same time, like, this team was above 500 when Jokic was out. Mm-hmm. Right? Jamal Murray has not missed a game. He's playing the best of his career. Right? Like AG, when he's healthy, is still unbelievable. Peyton Watson is having a resurgence in his career. It's a roster it's a roster that is compiled of guys that can't stay on the floor. Can't say that. I shout out friend of the show, Cooper Snowbarger, who was happy I gave him a shout out the other day because I'm gonna give him another shout out. He tried to argue with me that the Thunder were the most injured team in the league, and I sat there and I said, "Can I have a little bit of what you're smoking?" I was like, "Dude, I have had 8 players miss double-digit games this year. 8. You know how many players play in the playoffs? Fucking 8." I've had 8 different players miss double-digit games. That is look, if you pull up the injury report of the whole season, the most injured teams in the league, it is the 3 worst teams in basketball, and then us. And we are neck and neck with battling that. It's like I said, I think I said it last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. It feels like the year where we had Solani and Korea, and that team was stacked with Sakic and Forsberg and Hayduk and everyone. And we were like, this team's too good. How did they lose? Oh, yeah, that's right. They can't stay on the ice. Well, it feels like the same thing's going to happen for this team because I'm waiting for that detriment in the playoffs happen where Anthony Edwards puts his nuts on Peyton Watson's head and he's out for the playoffs and then we're done. Okay? Like, I don't want it to happen. Knock on wood, it doesn't happen. But I said this last week. Nuggets fans, you just need to expect to lose. Seriously, you have to expect that we are not going to win anything. Because if we are pleasantly surprised and this team is healthy, then this team has a chance to win it all. But you should not be surprised with this team being a first or second round exit. That's the worst part about it. And you just hope that this team can get hot at the right time because it has been a headache. I guess it's been a headache of a year because it's a lot of wasted potential because Tim Hardaway, one of the best offseason pickups this team's ever had. He's in conversation for 6th man of the year. 1-year contract, he's gone after this year. Peyton Watson, there's already talks that he's gone and going to go get paid in Chicago or Lakers or wherever now, right? You're not going to get this roster makeup again. So it's so frustrating. So frustrating.
And it's going to be tough. We're probably not going to see them clinch a playoff spot until last game, possibly not being in that play-in tournament. The East, only one team has clinched their playoff spot. That is the Detroit Pistons right now. Boston's 5 games behind them, tied with the Knicks. I'm sure that Boston has the tiebreaker over them. It's a pillow fight, but that's what we've been saying about the Pacific Division in the NHL. That's what we said about the Patriots' path in the NFL with the AFC. It is a pillow fight. But who is going to emerge victorious from this pillow fight and actually have a pretty damn good chance of knocking off whoever wins the dogfight that is the Western
That's Conference. The problem with the East and why it's so lucky. It's like, let's be honest with ourselves. Do we see a way that Boston can't come out of the East?
Boston could definitely do
it. They get Tatum back. Vucevic was a great pickup, as good of a center as Porzingis when they went on a deep run. Peyton Pritchard has really taken the next step as lead point guard. That team is as dangerous as anybody there. Frankly, they're a team that should scare anybody in the West. Like, no offense to New York, it's a cute story. Like they're a good team. A team is not ready for the Oklahoma Cities, the San Antonios of the world. They're not. Plain and simple, they're not. And Boston is the team that is. But the problem is with Boston, it's like, is Tatum fully healthy and fully ready to get this team another deep playoff run? Because if he is, then they're the team to beat in the East. Like, no slight to Detroit. They've had a great year. Jalen Duran has been great at center. Cade Cunningham has really taken the next level. Been at All-NBA first-team type level player this year. But it seems like it's a Cleveland Cavaliers situation 2 years ago, doesn't it? Or was it 3 years ago when Cleveland had the number one seed?
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years ago when they were the number one seed, we were like, Cleveland can make this run, right? They have Donovan Mitchell now. They have this great talent. They're young. They're hungry. And then they falter in the second round. It could be Detroit. It could be Detroit. Could be. And look, I think put those two teams on paper next to each other. That Cavs team for 2 years and Detroit team from this year. I think the Cavs team is better. I think that Cavs team is better on paper.
But do they have better teams that they're going against? Because that is also. I mean, there was some really good series in the East that year.
Yeah, they did have some more competition. They had the Heat, who were much better than they are.
The Heat with Jimmy Butler at the end of his time.
Boston healthy. They had the Bucks with Giannis. Like, that was a lot tougher Eastern Conference than it is now. But yeah, if you're New York, if you're New York, if you're Cleveland, if you're Detroit, like, this is as good of a chance as you'll ever get, because you got to be looking over on the Western Conference and be watching those games and being like, that team is barely getting by. That team's barely getting by, and that's why I'll say it. That's why last year's NBA Finals went 7 games. You and I could both sit here and tell you who the better team was at series. It was OKC. It was OKC from start to finish in most games, but the legs and the longevity of series that OKC had to run through gave Indiana those chances at the end of games to get them and push them to 7, where they were one Halliburton freak injury away for the Pacers hanging a championship banner at the start of the season instead of OKC, right? So if you're Boston, you can unscathed through the Eastern Conference and you face Oklahoma City or San Antonio or whoever, like, you got to be licking your chops being like, this is fresh meat. This is an opportunity to go at it. And Indiana was not prepared for it as well as Boston could be.
I'm glad that you said fresh meat, because the last thing that I wanted to talk about with the East, I heard this on Monday, so the numbers might have changed. Since Joel Embiid has won his MVP, he has missed 91 games. And also, since
not enough.
But since that moment when he won his MVP, Nikola Jokic has registered 87 triple-doubles. He has almost as many triple-doubles as games missed by Joel Embiid. So tell me again, Philly fans, how that was a legitimate award and it wasn't just everybody tired of giving it to the 7-foot Serbian?
Look, Joel Embiid, when he's healthy, is a great player, but that's, like I said, if man. It's the Justin Herbert. It's if man in basketball. Like, there's no slight to Embiid at all, because we're past those conversations now. And it's funny now, he's still 2026, and it'll be going into 2027 now. He hasn't played in Denver since before COVID, and we are closing in next season because the Philadelphia only plays here once a year on 2027 season. Him still not playing here, but I said it. Shea's the best player in the world. I have no problem with him getting these MVPs. Okay, he's consistently been unreal, consistently for them, and one of the best players in the league. Embiid was here, fucker, take it. We don't want to give it to him.
Will you shut up now, please?
Just shut up and take it. That's what it was. And that's what the trophy still is. It's an asterisk, because you look at the MVPs the last 5-6 years since before COVID, right? Shea will win 2. He won this year, won last year. Year before that, Jokic. Year before that, Embiid. Year before that, Jokic, Giannis. What's the one outlier?
By the way, the second one is also the second one this year for odds-wise is Luka. So Doncic.
Luka has a great conversation for it too, because he's been red hot. But I'm just saying this. It's like, look at what do Jokic, Shea, and Giannis have that Embiid doesn't.
I mean, they play more games.
They consistently. Well, I mean, Giannis has had injury problems lately, but they have all won an NBA Finals MVP.
That's true.
They've all won NBA Finals MVP and hoisted the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Embiid hasn't made the conference finals.
Yeah, he hasn't made it past the second round of the
Hasn't
playoffs,
made the conference
ever.
finals. Like, this isn't even conversation. He ain't even in the conversation anymore. We passed you up. Wemby's passed you up. Like, you're not even a top 3 center in the league anymore. Top 2 center in the league anymore. Wemby's passed him. Passed you up.
I was listening to 104.3 in Stokely, the way that he always tries to pronounce Wemby. It's different every time. Wembyama, Wabayaba, Uwabai. Wembyama is a problem. Learn how to say his name, please.
The Spurs,
quickly.
the Spurs man, that's a team that I'm going to be watching every single playoff game they play. Like, I'm dead serious. That Spurs team with De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, Harris Barnes, they play hard. They play hard. And a coach that is literally from the Popovich coaching tree that literally is engraving the ways of Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili into Wemby, Fox, and all these young guys. Like, San Antonio is scary. Scary. That team, I'm serious, should be in the finals in the next 2 or 3 years. Like, that's how highly I think of what that Spurs team could be, if obviously they stay healthy.
Yeah, I think that this year they got to win a playoff series, maybe 2, because they are good enough that they could possibly sneak away 2 and be in a conference final. But it's a long way to go from not making the playoffs for the last few years and then going all the way to the conference finals / NBA finals. That's just not how normally it works. But you're not normally born 7'4" and still growing when you're 19 and have a 11-foot wingspan. That's also not normal. So there's a lot of things that could happen. Other playoff race that we're really interested in, the hat has been on the entire time. This is the hat that I'm bringing out to Virginia Beach so everybody knows. The Avalanche are number 1, number 2, number 3 on my mind at this point. I am in the bracket brawl, but the Avalanche are where my bread has been buttered over the last few weeks. I've been catching up with as much as I can, chicklets-wise, and all the other content that we love to consume. I feel much better about things after the way Sunday went, because not only do you pick up a second big win in a 2-game series over the weekend, you beat Chicago, you go on the road to Washington, play the matinee game there, you get the win, even though it has to come in overtime, but you get the separation that you needed. Yeah, everybody knew that Dallas wasn't going to be able to win 26 games to end their season. But it was looking really close there for a second. 12 games in a row. I was like, damn it.
That 7-point cushion feels real nice. So
yes.
It feels very good because now you're getting guys healthy back. I don't know if you saw the score of tonight's game as we're recording Tuesday night.
Yeah, no, that was awesome.
Hammer.
That was a lick back. I needed my lick back for the 7-2 beating.
Yeah, they hammered Pittsburgh. So, and LOC back in the lineup too.
That's
Ross
awesome.
Bolton back in the lineup as well.
LOC and Parker Kelly on a line right now. I was listening to a couple of shows. I'm like, that could be. I know that we have Netchus and we have McKinnon, and then we have Kadri, and then we have Landy.
Nazem Kadri, by the way.
Third line. Third, that could be 4th line.
I know that's crazy.
That's a second line on almost all the other teams.
That's a first line on teams that are in the playoffs.
First line on the Pacific, yes. If you're in the Pacific, that is a hell of a first line, and those guys are going to try and carry you as long as they can. Again, what we said about the East, the Pacific is just sitting over there. I don't know if you saw Connor McDavid's quote. Did you see it? He's like, "Yeah, no, the Pacific is a pillow fight, and it's a good thing because all the teams this year need it." They're sitting. We talked about the East watching the Western games. I think that Edmonton sits there and watches any team play in the Central, and that goes all the way to Nashville. Because by the way, Nashville would be the first round matchup right now, and there would be a wild card team. But that is a tough wild card team. I'd rather play San Jose. I want to play San Jose. I want to play Seattle.
Anaheim.
Insert name of Pacific Division team here, and I would much rather play them as the wild card team than damn Nashville.
Damn fucking Minnesota. Minnesota.
If we play Minnesota in the first round, that is going to be the most stressful playoff run that we've had since the bubble.
I'd be shocked if Minnesota drops below that 3 is all I'm going to say at the end of the season. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think. But you should look at the Eastern Conference too. Like Tampa Bay's really good right now. Tampa plays very, very, very good hockey. But Florida ain't going to be there. Boston is not fully healthy either, right? Columbus doesn't scare me. Sorry, Buffalo. I'm licking my chops at facing you in the cup final, okay? Is all I'm going to say. Please, if you make it that far, I will tip my cap to you, right? So will you, Jimmy. You'll be like, yep, good for you. Well, here's a waste of 7 days is all I'm going to say, okay? So good for you guys. Great talent. You got a lot of up-and-comers. Tate Thompson, I love you still. Still one of my favorite Team USA guys. Darlene's great. Bo Byram, cup champion. Love him too. Like lots of good players. I am licking my chops at everyone in this Eastern Conference. Look, the only 2 teams that really scare me are Tampa and Carolina. And Carolina scares me. Carolina shouldn't scare me because they won't make the cup final because they always fall apart at some point in the playoffs. Okay,
they're like the Philadelphia, except that their star players normally end up playing. But I everything that we said about Bednar up until they won the cup goes for Rod Brind'Amour right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You great culture. Your team's always competitive. You're making the playoffs every single year. But what can you do past the second round?
Florida's out there.
By the way, not just getting past the second round, there was a 3-year stretch where they didn't win a game. in the second round of the playoffs.
There's a stretch where they didn't win in a road game. They didn't win a road game. They would just win playoff games at home and lose a game 7 when they didn't have a home game 7.
Yeah.
Like the Eastern Conference, like I said, Tampa Bay scares me the most. As they should. Tampa Bay scares me the most. Boston is an interesting story because I think Boston is a very, very good hockey team. I just don't think they have the offensive power as they used to. Like Pasta is the head of the snake there, and Middlestad's been great for them, but I think that's as far as it goes for them, and they don't really scare me in the long run. Good defense, though, good goaltending, but that's as far as that goes. Like the team that scares me the most is Tampa.
Tampa would have a tough.
Pittsburgh's on the verge of missing the playoffs, dude. like Pittsburgh may not even make it. Islanders could sneak in. Detroit, Rock City could too. Montreal, do I really need to think about them in the Cup final? No.
Going through the Eastern playoffs, I think that it's live for any of them.
Oh yeah, it's
of
very
the
live.
8 teams that make the Eastern Conference playoffs. I toss a coin because. Yeah. I think that Tampa should go on and win things, but I thought that about Boston for a few years where they got smoked in the first round of the playoffs. So I'm kind of I have no clue about what the Eastern Conference has. Hopefully,
I'm going to tell you right now, the Edmonton Oilers, if they can't win a cup this year, they better blow it up. Because let me say a couple things. One, they know it's going to be a bloodbath in the first 2 rounds in the Central. They know whoever comes out of that 3-headed monster, you get rid of 2 of the best teams in the league. And you know at least that second series will go 6 or 7 games, okay? You know it'll be that. And if you're able to skate through Anaheim, skate through that first round for Edmonton, you should win the cup. The big boogeyman isn't over there. Matthew Tkachuk, the bride to your bridesmaid, isn't going to be over there, okay? The worst you have, the hardest team you'll have to play could be coming out of the Central. And if you can get past them after they beat the living heck out of each other, there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity is all I'm going to say.
The last time that we said this, and it did go 6 games, the Edmonton Oilers did get swept. So I just want to make sure Edmonton hasn't forgot. And by the way, you don't have Leon Draisaitl, so there is a good chance that
McDavid, by the way, is having a little bitchy fit. By the way, you see, I don't know if you saw that. He had practice.
The fact that it took this long for him to get to this point it's kudos to him.
I mean, he's sick and tired of the bridesmaid comments. Is all I'm going to say. Because
he gets asked that every single day by those damn reporters.
He's slamming sticks, hitting the stick racket as an equipment guy that handles the stick racket.
Do you think Matthew Tkachuk would have broke his stick on 1 swing instead of 2, Connor? Do you think that he would have scored and then smashed his stick?
Oh man, yeah, it's.
Why is the media chirping me from the stands? What the hell is this?
You know, opposing arenas he walk into, like the Crosby thing. McDavid can't go this to that guy. Remember we talked about last week. Crosby in the penalty box was like, "I got 2 gold medals. You can't say that to me. I got 2 golds." Well, McDavid can't do that. He's I'm an all-time loser. I got a World Junior Championship.
Yeah,
or not World Junior. What's the World Cup Hockey Championship? I got that. 4 Nations. Sorry, I got 4 Nations Championship. Give me that ring, right? I got that. That's pretty good. And then that shiny gold medal is like, oh, that's right. I lost when the game was on the line. Oh, that's right. I lost Game 7 in the Cup final. Oh, that's right. I didn't show up in the Cup final last year.
We played 3-on-3 in the overtime in the gold medal game. And we had McKinnon and Crosby on my – or not McKinnon and Crosby, but we had McKinnon on my line. And we didn't win. At some point, he's going to start calling himself the bridesmaid.
At some point, the Canadian teams are going to be losing.
He's going to get folded into American cities?
I mean, I'm not going to go that far.
The Toronto Maple Leafs – or the Birmingham Maple Leafs.
I'm not going to go that far because Canada will always have a strong presence in our sport. But, I mean, like, if you're Austin Matthews after the injury and all the reporters going after you and then not having your back on the injury, why would you want to play in Canada still?
And they're 30, 29, and 13. They have 73 points on the season.
And Matthews is out for the
behind. They're 12 behind the wild card spot.
Like, they're not mathematically eliminated, but they basically are. Like, let's put it that way, especially without Matthews. And if you're sitting there in Edmonton and as Connor McDavid, you're thinking like, I wonder I wonder what the weather in LA is like during the winter. I wonder what the Kings would be interested in, and maybe just do the full Gretzky arc at this point. Like, let me see. Let me
It's
see
not the
what's
full Gretzky. Gretzky
it's
left
not the
with 3
full.
cups.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But like, I'm just saying, like,
If he cries during his farewell press conference, he would get roasted. He'd get eviscerated by the Canadian
for not
media.
winning a cup either,
He's never won a cup, and he's crying.
He'd be enemy number one in Canada. Like Matthews is on the verge of that because A, he won gold in the U.S. and chirped him all for it, and B, because he can't win anything in Toronto. So I mean, like, look, all I'm saying is, we do take better care of our hockey players here in the States.
Yeah.
We do. We give them some love and tender. Give them a little sugar. We pay them nicely. We make sure their hospital and they get paid in their Canadian dollars, which is more than our currency, so they still get more money. Like we make sure we treat them well. That's all I'm going to say. We make sure we treat them well. And look what Matthew Tkachuk did when he left. Won a cup. Won 2 of them suckers. Crosby, best hockey is in what? Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's look. I've said already too much on this podcast about Canada. Okay, like probably get me in trouble because the teams I work for is like 95% Canadian. Okay,
probably all Maple Leafs fans.
Oh, it's all Maple Leafs. Some, I mean, they're from different parts.
Vancouver,
of Vancouver, some Calgary fans, and all that. But I say some stuff on here that get myself in trouble. But all I'm saying is, there's a reason why you haven't won a cup since 1993. And there's a reason why.
Were you alive in 1993?
Oh,
neither was I.
Neither of us were.
Yeah, no, that's where we sit right now. It's our sport, and you want to keep trying to reclaim it. Look, at this point, you just don't have it.
Hearing you say that, I was just thinking about it. I was like, you've never said a truer comment. I've known you for 20 years, or not 20 years, like 15 years. 15
we don't. Yeah, 15.
Known you for a while. 15
a while.
Or for a while, okay? For almost 20 years, I think. I think we're getting close to 20 years.
Yeah.
But 15 plus years, okay? I've never heard you see a truer comment. Hockey's our sport. What are they going to say, Jimmy?
They can't say, because they wanted to try and they tried to steal baseball, and we said, no, they're not taking baseball.
And then Shohei Ohtani happened, and the Dodgers just right into the World Series.
Yeah,
they had their chances. They had their chance. It's been 2026 has been end of 2025, end of 2026 has been a tough year for Canada. Okay, those nice guys up there, man, they deserve better.
They should have taken our offer when they had the chance. I said it. I've been saying it to my family. They should have taken the statehood offer when we offered it, because now I don't want them. I'd rather have Puerto Rico.
I'm not going to go that far, okay? But I just it's not great, okay?
If you understood the words out of Ricky Martin's song that he sang at the Super Bowl halftime show, what I just said is going to make me hated on the Puerto Rican island. Player of the week. Let's wrap things up now that we both said things that are going to make international fans mad. Who do you have for your best player of this week, as I'm getting it put up on the screen?
Well, we had one of the best game winners of the round 32. Obviously, the high point game winner was great. But I went with an Iowa basketball player not named Caitlin Clark. Alvaro Folgueras. Alvaro Folgueras hit the game winner against Florida. Look, the stat line's not pretty. 14 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. Not pretty stat line. But to beat the champ on a game winner, that's a moment he'll remember for the rest of his life. I don't know if this man has a chance. He probably will play in Europe somewhere and be a good player in Europe for a couple of years. But it's a once-in-a-lifetime moment for an Iowa basketball team that, frankly, like, they never made they may have made the Sweet 16 once with Luka Garza. I don't know off the top of my head, actually.
I think it was the Sweet 16, and that was as far as they got.
That's as far as they got. But the fact they were able to get back with a new coach and a new system and a bunch of young players, or not young players, but players that have not had tournament experience is great. So Alvaro Folgueras is my player of the week with the game winner over Florida and knocking out the champs.
I'm glad you attempted that. I'm the guy that used to have to call some of these basketball names. I think I've told you. Regis used to come out to Gunnison, and Regis is like all international players, and I'm Italian. And I'm like, I've never seen this many vowels in a name. I've never seen those 2 letters put together. What sound does that make? Ch? Okay. Yeah, sure, that makes a ch.
Yeah,
WC makes a ch. That makes no sense. My player of the week is also college. All of our athletes that we're going to talk about, I believe, are college players. Jax Forrest We talked about him after the Big 12 championship. He was the guy that I said should have been buying a prom boutonniere going into that tournament. He went out and he had the fastest pin of one of the rounds of the tournament. He dominated everybody as a 17 going on 18-year-old kid, former world champion, and wins a national championship. He was one of three true freshmen individual national champions for the Oklahoma State wrestling team. They had the opportunity to go 4 for 4. They ended up going 3 out of 4. But Jax Forrest is like, he's the big star, dazzling name in wrestling. But the reason is because he's that good. Like he is, this is going to be a way inside baseball comment, but David Taylor, who is the coach of Oklahoma State now, he was with Cale Sanderson when Penn State started their dominance. That, by the way, they won their 13th out of 16 national championships in the last 16 years. This most recent weekend, they had 6 individual national champions tying their own record and beating their points record. David Taylor was the guy that started that dynasty for Penn State. Jax Forrest could be the David Taylor under David Taylor at Oklahoma State. And I think that's not a crazy statement to say. And I'm interested, wrestling fans, jump down in the comments, see what you think about that. But I don't think that that's an outlandish statement to say. I think Jax Forrest is on that way.
I mean, that's an all-timer, right? Like a guy that like I've told this to my freshmen I'm coaching, and I'm like, look, this is a different level. Like these kids are bigger, stronger, faster than you. You are facing kids that are 3 years older than you. Yeah. Like I don't think you realize that. Like some of these kids were in high school when you were just getting to middle school. Think about that, right? And now to do that at the college level where you're still a young pup and a crazy young age and able to beat seniors and high-level guys that have been in the college tournament for so many years, like it's such an achievement. It's such an achievement.
I have no idea what happened with wrestling this year, Nico, but all 4 of the kids in that semifinal he was in the 133-pound bracket. They're all either redshirt or true freshmen. So nobody was older than 19 years old, all in the semifinals with a chance. He ended up beating another true freshman from Ohio State. And I was like, these are we're watching 2 17-year-olds fight on ESPN right now.
It's impressive.
Sticking with my wrestling theme, my benchwarmer of the week is AJ Ferrari. You might not remember him, but we talked about him when he won a national championship 3 years ago now. So a little bit into this podcast. He was a true freshman, national champion at Oklahoma State, 197-pounder. Since then, he has been arrested 3 times, been to 4 separate universities, actually. He was at Iowa for like a week and then decided to leave.
I saw about 5 different pictures of universities, and I was like, I don't know which picture.
Oh, no, Nebraska was a good one to pick because this was his year to get back on track. Nebraska was going to fix him. I don't like the Nebraska coach, so I'm kind of putting this on him as well. But the player that we're talking about for Benchwarmer, AJ Ferrari, he has all this pedigree. He is the most brash, gives double birds to the crowd. So the reason why he didn't end up wrestling at Iowa is because he wrestled what was going to be his teammate in like a week at the last tournament of the first semester, beat him, and then gave the double bird to the crowd of Iowa fans that were there. And Iowa was all of a sudden like, yeah, you know what? I don't think we need you in our wrestling room. That's just going to cause nothing but headaches. Well, he went to Nebraska. He got the number 1 seed in the semifinals, tried to go out there and bully him, and he's like swinging real hard and clubbing his head. And this 6'6" Cuban dude just was like, I'm not happy with this anymore, and just runs the shit out of him, breaks his ribs. He defaults out of the rest of the tournament, and this is a guy coming in saying, I'm the number 1. I'm just the genetic freak. You cannot stop a Ferrari. I was like, apparently in Cuba, Ferraris don't go.
Apparently he can. I don't know if like Ferrari had a rough week. I don't know if he had a worse week than the top NBA prospects in this draft. Like the top 3 guys that I kept hearing over and over again. 3 guys that busted my bracket in half is all I'm going to say. AJ DeBonza from BYU, Darren Pearson for Kansas, and then on top of that, add in, Caleb Wilson for North Carolina. 3 guys who, like at this point, no one knows who the top 3 picks are going to be. Like who's going to go 1, who's going to go 2, who's going to go 3 and 4, all that. Right? But all 3 of those guys are guys that are going to be starters on bad teams in the NBA next year. Okay? All 3 of these guys are done after the first weekend. And 2 of these guys, and DeBonza and Caleb Wilson, done after the first night. Done after the first day. And DeBonza, I'm not going to put the blame on him. He dropped 35 points. Okay, to do that in a college game is impressive. Let's just say that. Okay?
He was all over the floor for BYU.
He was all over the floor, but that was it. That was it. Okay, that was it. I'm more how to use him as a poster boy here because I wanted to see more of him. Is all I'm gonna say. Okay, I see a lot of Anthony Edwards in his game. I see a lot of high power, high flying. He's gonna be a great player, probably for the Pacers. I actually hope the Pacers would get him. Him with Halliburton and a young team would be exciting. So I hope he ends up in a good spot there. Caleb Wilson obviously just threw up a big brain fart, and did nothing all tournament. Right? Was horrible. Had a halfway decent game in North Carolina in that first round, but was not a non-factor. Hubert Davis decided to put the ball out of his hands into other guys' hands, and VCU made everybody else beat them. Made everyone else beat them in that second half, and they couldn't. They couldn't. So that was a big slide of Caleb Wilson. And then you throw in Darren Peterson, a guy who people are worried about his motor. A guy who already is people are saying that he doesn't care about the game of basketball, that he just cares about getting just being in college for this 1 year and then going pro. And frankly, he's doing nothing but telling everybody that you're right. Doing nothing but telling everybody. No shows in the Kansas semifinal or round of 32 against St. John's. I just feel like this kid has unwrought potential in Darren Peterson, but just can't put it together. And frankly, if I'm a Wizards fan, which like I said, not many of you, Wizards fan, a Charlotte Hornets fan, a Brooklyn Nets fan, like I hope that Darren Peterson could get his act together. Because when DeBonza, Peterson, and Caleb Wilson are playing their best basketball, those are 3 all-NBA type level players. But frankly, the motor for Peterson is questionable, and Wilson and DeBonza, I just was not. I mean, DeBonza, I was more inspired with his performance. I thought he played well, but Caleb Wilson, his stock is way down. Guys like Cam Boozer, Acuff, like I talked about the Arkansas guard, those guys are skyrocketing up boards. That should make for an interesting NBA draft come June, July, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it'll be wild. I think the reason why those things bug us so much is because we've taken on the role of coaches, and that's like my biggest fear is seeing the potential of somebody wasted. And that's why I tell my kids all the time, you're going to hate me. Same thing my dad used to tell you. You're going to hate me during practice. You're going to hate me in the moments where you're like, we just won. What are you going to do? But in those times where you're like down, you're going to remember, oh, I can do this. I can figure this out. I have the ability to get this done.
Absolutely. And that's why, and like DeBonza is a little different story because BYU like is not a powerhouse of some sort, but Wilson and Peterson at Kansas and North Carolina respectively, like, come on now. Like those are teams that you know the talent is there and you know how good the talent is around you, that at least these guys are getting G League looks / and summer league opportunities come the summer. And the fact you were a first weekend gone is very disappointing.
I like the fact that this one was a little bit more home-centered, Colorado-centered. We got to talk a lot about the Nuggets, got to talk a lot about the Avalanche. Is there anything else that we need to touch on before we let everybody go off and enjoy the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 of March Madness?
Well, there's another team in the playoffs in Denver, Colorado, is all I'm going to say. The Colorado Mammoth have clinched a playoff spot, ladies and gentlemen. So I will be hopefully playing some home games is all I'm going to say. Is we got to win. We got to take care of business the next couple of weeks. Nice to have a little bye week off this weekend, but we come back and we have a big game against Vegas next week and then 2 road games to end the season. And we're hoping to be a top 3 seed, top 2 seed maybe for lucky and maybe the 1 seed. That's still in play. But yeah, great opportunities coming ahead of us. And we have a chance to have the NLL playoffs come through Denver, which would be sick. So 2 teams locked in the playoffs in Denver so far. 3rd one more than likely going to happen. So very, very exciting stuff.
And speaking of Denver teams that don't normally get any shine, the DU Pios won their conference again. They are going back. They're going to be able to compete for yet another national championship, but they're a program that deserves a lot more credit than what they get because they are the most consistently winning program inside the state. Professional.
Jimmy, they're the most successful college hockey team in the country.
Yes.
They have 10 national championships. That's a crazy.
The reason why we said that Colorado was Hockeytown USA when the Avalanche won was not because the Avalanche won. It was because DU literally runs college hockey.
Yeah, it's crazy. And DU has been hotter than ever. So they're doing even better things. And damn, yeah, DU hockey is on one.
Go Pios. Let's go ahead, wrap this thing up. Make sure everybody is subscribed, following at
Sorry. Mean cut you off. We got a Randy Orton heel turn, by the way, for those that are in WrestleMania season. I have other things going on. Is it really
a heel turn because everybody loves him that way?
Yeah, everyone loves him now. All I'm gonna say is I will not be attending WrestleMania this year, unfortunately. I know, heartbreaking for me.
Not going back to Vegas for the third year in a row.
No, not paying $1,000 again to see a card that is okay. It's good. Oba Family vs. Brock's gonna be good, but I had to see my goat. I had to see my goat last year. Okay, I had to see my goat, and obviously WrestleMania 40 was one of the greatest spectacles I've ever watched. Okay, so, but there's not that draw, and I have to work. Okay, I'm sorry. I got about 8 different things going on in the month of April, so WrestleMania is out for me this year. But I know you've been probably tuning in, or at least seeing what's going on.
I've been watching, especially because Cody is the one that he turned on, and I'm just sitting there. Now I might go get myself an RKO shirt. I'm not even. I hated Randy Orton.
I got the one. I got a Randy Orton shirt from 2 years ago. That's still one of my favorite shirts. It's like a cream color. It says "Strike First." It looks like a Cobra Kai shirt. It's sick. Yeah. I will say, and I want to phrase this question to you: Who main events night 2?
It's gonna be Roman and CM Punk.
You think?
Yeah.
Cody and Roman, or Cody and Randy are hot.
I think Cody and Randy are going to be the ones that get everybody. Because I honestly, over the last few years, I think the Saturday Night Main Event has been a better match than
outside of 40. Outside of 40, but yes, the last 2 years.
No, I just mean like match wise. I'm not talking about story or like what was better to watch. I think the spectacle, because John Cena at WrestleMania 40 was not at his best.
Yeah, that's true.
So
41. That's 41. I'm saying
41.
The night 2, which was the. The Rock doesn't have the juice anymore. Is all I'm gonna say.
And I don't like how because Sunday I don't necessarily want them to be on Sunday, because Sunday's when all the interference happens. I just want them to have the main event match. Whoever wins gets the title. Randy either gets 15 or Cody beats his mentor and the guy that literally groomed him into this spot in the top of the roster.
There's rumors swirling that Randy is talking to John, possibly. And the other rumor swirling, I don't know if you saw this in non-sports news and wrestling news, Ted DiBiase Jr. got exonerated. He didn't have fraud. He didn't have these problems. He was a guy that was looking at life in jail. And they went background checked, looked through it all, and said, no, you're actually clean. So do we have a legacy return at Mania or even within the next couple of weeks?
I would like to see Legacy. Legacy was one of those factions. Here's the thing. If I was a little bit older during the Randy Orton John Cena feud, I probably would have been a Randy guy, because Randy makes a lot more sense the older you get. Like, you do have to go out and just do things for yourself, kick everybody in the head, and then walk out. But I was all part of the C Nation and never give up.
And we still are.
Yes, I am still. I still am.
We still are, Jimmy.
Don't
let yourself fight that. He may be retired, but you still are GOAT.
It still feels like my childhood. I'm still grieving my childhood from that night. By the way, and again, we're totally off sports, so if you're sticking around, make sure that you're subscribed at this point, because you obviously like us. I don't know what Grace is doing tonight, but Carly decided, hey, you don't have to come over tonight. I'm going to watch the Hannah Montana reunion. I was like, thank you.
I didn't know that.
Just how I didn't make you come watch John Cena's last match. I don't have to come watch Hannah Montana. I'm good.
Thing. Cry, have fun. Like, I was crying to grown man tears watching my GOAT retire, and you're probably doing the same thing.
I lashed out at everybody that was sitting in Dom's house. I yelled at Dom. I yelled at Dom's wife. I yelled at my mom. I yelled at my dad. I was not in a good place.
3 months later, and I'm still like miss him.
Yes, I still go back and I'm like, are you sure you can't have one more?
I need him doing like a Marvel superhero. Like, a Peacemaker's fine, but seeing my GOAT cuss out people and mother at people and no offense, like, be in brothels is not my thing. Okay, get this man like in a Marvel movie where I can be my superhero again. Is all I'm gonna say.
He's making a superhero. Vigilante, I know. I like DC more than Marvel, so you know that I'm not going to take him out of that one. He's the best part of the Mortal Kombat games.
True. That's true.
All right. Now, if you're still rocking with us, like I said, make sure you're subscribed. Episode 271 of The Far End of the Bench. Everybody enjoy your week. But for myself, Jimmy Pilato, my co-host, Nico Bryant, we will see you guys next time.
Peace.
If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.